Shabbat Shalom, everyone. A special Shabbat Shalom to our friends and family who are on Zoom this evening. I'm waving to each and every one of you. I'm so glad that you're here. For everyone who is in person, Shabbat Shalom. I am now realizing that I was still wearing my mask. One of the fun parts of leading services this often is that it starts feeling regular, and so does wearing a mask this often. Then it feels regular, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, this is the one time. Take your mask off. We are here. So Shabbat Shalom to each and every one of you. I'm so glad that you're here. This is the most people I have ever seen at Temple Beth Torah. So Mazel Tov to each of us for being here. And I also want to thank everybody who is here on Zoom and who is here via live stream. You are here in this spiritual space with us, and I'm so grateful for it. This Shabbat, we are going to be going through the highs and the lows, right? We are celebrating this exciting moment. If I say so myself, it's pretty exciting. I can say I'm certainly excited about it. And also, we are also observing Trans Day of Remembrance, which begins this evening and goes to tomorrow according to our Jewish calendar. It actually starts tomorrow according to the secular calendar. And I think that this is a really good metaphor for Jewish life. We don't just get together for the exciting, uplifting moments, and we don't just get together for the really sad moments, but we do both, and we hold space for both as a community. So, I hope that you'll be able to join us in each of these spaces, but wherever you are, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you're in the right place if you're here this evening. And we will celebrate being in that space wherever it is in song with a nigun. For those of you who have been here lately, we've started singing this nigun, and it's one of my favorites. So sing along if you know it, and if you don't, if you want to catch on, you're more than welcome to. Or luckily, the words are lie, 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 yai, die, die, so it's not too difficult.
Die,
It's now my pleasure to invite Sharon Sachs and Phyllis Wood to light the Shabbat candles. We are on page 127 for the reading and 120 for the candle blessing. There's a microphone right here. Yes.
There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue with words of joy on page 130 with the words Lechu Neranana Ladonai. Navi We are on page 131 with the words Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Let us sing a new song. We welcome the Shabbat bride in Lecha Dodi on page 138, where we will do verses 1, 2, and 9. And during verse 9, we will rise in all the ways we're able, and we will be facing that door, since that's the one that we came into this evening. Lecha Dodi Kala, Pene Shabbat, Mekavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, Mekavela, Shamor v'Zachor v'Dibur Echad, Ishmiyan El HaMyuchad, Adonai Echad, U'Shemo Echad, L'Shemo Tiferet V'Litechila, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, V'Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, V'Kavela, Likrat Shabbat, Lechu V'Nelcha, Ki Hi Mekor HaBeracha, Merosh Mikedem Nesucha, Sof Ma'aseh B'Machshavat Chila, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, V'Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, V'Kavela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha uv'zohala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, V'Kavela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, V'Kavela. Please be seated. This to conclude our Kabbalat Shabbat, our getting in the Shabbat spirit, this evening we are going to be singing a melody that we don't usually sing on Shabbat here, but it talks about Tzaddik katamar yifrach, the righteous will bloom like date palms. It's been wonderful to see us blooming together as a community, and so Dave and I decided that this would be a great way to transition us from Kabbalat Shabbat into the rest of our prayers this evening. We are on page 140. Tzaddik katamar yifrach ke'erez bavanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun deseva deshenim vera'ananim ihu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tsuri velo avlata. We are on page 146 with the words of Baruch Hu. Please rise in all the ways you are able. Please be seated. We're on page 148. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, comes day, day turns to night.
To dark, to light. Comes day, day turns to night. To dark, to light. Day turns to roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night.
We're on page 152. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lema'an tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai u'seti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We sing the words of gratitude, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you, Adonai, who allows us to experience holiness and wonders, on page 158. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh lo ra tehilo tosef lele lo ra tehilo tosef lele malechutecha uvanecha okei ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam ze'eli anu ve'amru ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai imoch le'olam va'ed Adonai imoch le'olam va'ed Yai lai lai yai la 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 ya la lai yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai ya lai la lai la lai la 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 ya la lai ya la lai lai ya la 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 lai ya lai 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 ya lai 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 We move from celebration and gratitude to rest. If you'll feel comfortable, acknowledging that there may be more people in the room than you're used to, take a breath with me. Maybe don't blow so hard, just so that the person in front of you doesn't feel unsafe in a Jewish space. That's not really what we're going for. But just to ground ourselves in this moment. I was listening to a class this week that was talking about the importance of creating space to allow our kol dmama daka, our still small voice within each of us, to be able to come through in a way that we can't often pay attention to because there's so much noise around us, whether it's joyful noise or chaotic noise or whatever the noise is in our lives. So we'll take a moment and breathe in and breathe out. And we'll listen to that kol dmama. We're on page 160. Adonai, compassion and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu leChayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu leChayim. Lechaim, lechaim. We now come to the tefillah, the core part of our service. I encourage you to rise in all the ways that you are able. We are on page 164. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Lifnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed. Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim. Umatir asurim. Umekayim emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha bal gevurot. Umido melach. Melech meimit umechayeh. Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We sing together the words of Shalom Rav. Please be seated. We are on page 178 as we pray for peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Please take a moment for your own silent prayer. We now come to a fun but slightly awkward part for me because I get to introduce people who are going to be talking about the process that led to me being here. So it is my pleasure to invite up Rick Brodzinski, our president, who will share some words, and I'll kind of MC from there.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. 4 months ago, I had the privilege of introducing Rabbi Zoe to our community. Describing her first month in California and getting a new rabbi settled into the job, I thought my remarks were sufficient, such that when I was asked to say something at the ice cream social just a couple of days later, I conspired with Rabbi Zoe to create the Who Wants to Be a Fremont, California Rabbi game. Fast forward to, oh, Rick, you won't mind saying a few words at the installation, will you? I was asked about a month or so ago. Oi, now what was I going to say? I mean, it's not as if anything happened lately. It's been a really quiet and uneventful 4 months, right? Oh, sure. After 3 more weeks of outdoor services at the end of July, we had to switch back to virtual only, then hard switch the high holidays to virtual, and with just a couple of weeks to make all the changes, then slowly transition back to limited in-person services. But you know who handled all these changes being thrown at them with almost no warning the best? Rabbi Zoe. I do have to admit something. For all the certainty I had that the Rabbinic Search Committee had made the absolute best choice for Temple Beth Torah, there was a part of me that was worried and scared about how the transition would go at the start of July. Most of us can remember what it was like to get our first real job after graduating, and how difficult it was to transition from student to employee, let alone a leader. And while over my career I had managed and mentored many new engineers and scientists into the workforce, this was going to be the first time I'd be working with a newly ordained rabbi. The URJ hosts a multi-day seminar for incoming presidents each spring. It's meant to help us learn about the different aspects of being responsible for a congregation, what resources are available, etc. By the time of the seminar, we had already hired Rabbi Zoe. During the sessions, there was a lot of time spent on the relationship between the lay leadership and the clergy, particularly in acknowledging that, unlike a normal employer-employee relationship, this is a case where the background and expertise of the president is usually not the same as a rabbi's. It was here that I first learned the term sacred partnership. It is defined as a commitment to building and nurturing relationships that elevate the work of leadership to a level of holiness. As someone with a science, technical, business background, I did think, oh boy. But the organizers also knew that I was in a very small group of congregational leaders who were taking over their position at the same time as their congregation was hiring a newly ordained rabbi. There was a one-on-one session available to me to discuss my concerns and to give me tidbits of advice on how to navigate the course ahead. And one of those pieces of advice was that Rabbi Zoe and I should study together. I've offered to teach her quantum chemistry, but she so far has demurred. I can say that we hit the ground running from day one. My respect for her talents and wisdom continues to grow week by week, and over these past 4 months, we have developed a partnership. Is it truly sacred? Only time will tell. But the sacred partnership is not just between the rabbi and the president. It is between the rabbi and the other leaders, the rabbi and the board as a whole, and the rabbi and the community. These partnerships tend to grow more slowly as a rabbi's first few months are dominated with settling in and the high holy days, but they are growing at TBT. Last month, Rabbi Zoe and I attended a different URJ seminar, this time for congregations undergoing a rabbinic transition. There were opportunities to discuss the trials and tribulations the different congregations were going through, and while I know we had some bumps along our way, it was very clear that our partnerships have already begun to form more strongly than in many of our peer congregations. Personally, I am looking forward to our partnership and friendship continuing to grow, with that growth extending beyond my term as president. So, what new do I have to say about Rabbi Zoe? Well, she doesn't know Doctor Who and isn't a huge fan of Star Trek. And Rabbi Schulman, did you watch the season 4 premiere yesterday? Good. We'll talk about it. On the other hand, we are in full, perfect agreement that one should always eat their Ghirardelli double hot fudge sundae first, ensuring that you only eat the amount of dinner that will actually fit, since the important part is already taking up its rightful space. But I must say, in all my years of listening to sermons, I cannot remember ever hearing a rabbi use the term pinky swear in their drash until 2 weeks ago. Every rabbi brings their own perspectives and experiences to their rabbinate, and these show in their interactions with the congregation and the broader community. When we hired her, we knew that Rabbi Zoe was not going to be the same as Rabbi Schulman, just as we knew that he would not be the same as Rabbi Kaplan, who was not the same as Rabbi Krause. Each of them became a part of the fabric of TBT, and we a part of them. Their teachings and priorities reflected their education in the times, as well as the needs of the congregation at those specific points in time. What I know now is that at this point in time, Rabbi Zoe is a part of Temple Beth Torah, and Temple Beth Torah is a part of Rabbi Zoe. And may we be a part of each other for years to come. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'll stay to help adjust the mic.
Thank you. It's now my pleasure to invite Sharon Sachs, who will share some more words about what we don't know. It'll be a surprise.
I think. Is that good? Can everyone hear me? Okay. In the immortal words of Debbie Friedman, where will our journey begin? Where will it go? Hours pass, the answers will change as we move along on our journey. A little over a year ago, we began our journey as a congregation to search for a new rabbi. A team of amazing and committed individuals volunteered to be part of a search committee that met almost weekly and sometimes twice and 3 times a week over a course of, I would say, 6 months, 5 to 6 months. That committee interviewed, they reviewed applications, they developed criteria for the kind of person that we wanted as a congregational leader, and we had collegial discussion. We never fought with one another. We respected one another. Prior to this, our past president, Ronnie Peterson, had several town halls where congregants were able to give their perspectives of what they wanted in a new rabbi. We wanted a person who was caring and compassionate, someone who engaged the community, someone who could work with all age groups, someone who could connect and reconnect members of the congregation, an individual who had care and a strong commitment to social justice. We wanted an individual, of course, who had strong knowledge base in Jewish in Judaism and Jewish studies, and an individual who could be a strong educator. And finally, in addition to all these other characteristics, we wanted someone who was musically talented, and we wanted someone who could chant Torah. We wanted the perfect rabbi, right? So we went about our business, and we interviewed, or actually we reviewed applications, and we interviewed both veteran and student rabbis. And it was an interesting process. And we engaged congregants at the very end to be part of sort of the decision-making process, to give them a sense of who we were thinking of as our sort of final candidates. Rabbi Zoe, you didn't know any of this. But one person, one individual, continuously emerged throughout the whole process. Every time we went through applications, and then we went through the interviews, and we thought, this person is really the one. But we weren't sure if our number one candidate really wanted us. And as much PR as we did, and we gave tours, and we talked to Zoe, we couldn't do according to CCAR rules, we couldn't offer, do an official offer or even an unofficial offer. We couldn't make any overtures at all to her. And then March 2nd came. Or I should say, the night before March 2nd, the committee got together and we did some strategic planning. Because you see, with CCAR, when you cannot give an offer until a certain date and a certain time. And so we had to figure out, well, what if our first choice won't accept? We quickly have to move to our second choice. And then the morning of March 2nd came. And Ronnie and I got on the phone at 8 a.m. sharp. Maybe it was 7:59. We were on that phone, and we dialed, and I think it was like the second or third ring, maybe, that Rabbi Zoe answered. And we offered her the position, and guess what? She said yes. And of course, we were ecstatic. And emails to the committee were sent immediately, and it said, she said yes. And everybody was, of course, very thrilled and excited. Rabbi Zoe, we know that your journey is beginning. We know that there will be struggles and challenges, and sometimes there will be bumps in the road. But we want you to know that we're here to support you as a congregation, that we want to engage with you, that we want to connect with you. We want you to be part of our lives and our community. May you be blessed with strength and knowledge and joy, and may you be an enduring light for this community for a very, very long time. And may we say, Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov.
Whew. You ever have that moment when your cheeks are hurting because you were smiling so hard? I'm gonna need a face massage after this. So I have to admit, if this is your first rabbinic installation that you've ever been to, you're not alone. It's mine as well. As I spoke with Rabbi Laura Novak Winer, who will come up here shortly, about what this evening would and could look like, she mentioned something about how the congregation usually gets to hear some words of vision for their rabbi, words of where they want to see their community go and what they want their rabbinate to look like. And I thought to myself, I've kind of already said that, haven't I? Like, we've been together for 4.5, 5 months already. And so I started scrolling through all of the different things that I've told you about myself and about what I see for our community. And I went all the way back to something that I wrote about a year ago at this time, as I was preparing to find out where I would end up, what position that I would hold, what community that I would be with. And I had written these words as a statement to answer the question, what kind of rabbi would I be? Where did I come from? Where will I go? Where did we come from? Cotton Eye Joe. And some of you have read these words, heard these words from me, but I wanted to share them here because, as it turns out, they fit to this moment. This is probably a weird thing to admit, but I love watching videos of myself singing and praying. While some might hear this and think to themselves, wow, this woman must think very highly of herself, it's not actually about that, while that is true. I don't watch these videos because I think I look good or because I'm so in awe of my incredible talent, but rather because I watch them to find the moments where I can see joy and calm exuding from my face. I love finding the aha moments when I can see that I was connecting with others around me, when I can hear my voice and my guitar joining with others, and when I can feel my whole being uplifted. These are the sensations that I aspire to bring for myself and others when I'm praying. There's something incredibly meaningful about walking into a room exhausted from carrying so much weight on our shoulders, and then, through engaging with Judaism and Jewish community, feeling the weight begin to lift. There's something unexplainable. There is unexplainable comfort from singing words from our Jewish tradition or from the past 30 years, or lie, 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 die, 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 with people that you care about. Through feeling our voices supported by the voices of others surrounding us, taking a deep breath, sitting in moments of silence, we are then able to re-enter the world with newfound energy. It is this energy that gives us the strength to do the hard work that our world needs. By the time I completed my undergraduate studies as a women's studies major, I had spent 3.5 years studying the parts of society that were severely broken, or even worse, designed to work the way that they did. Scrolling through news articles and my social media each morning confirmed this view of the world. Depending on the day, I vacillated between being fired up to do something about all of this injustice that I was hearing about, and on the other hand, being utterly overwhelmed, knowing that I couldn't, by magic or by brute force, do the work myself that needed to be done. So, how is it that I'm supposed to sit here as Brock Turner, who had assaulted a woman at a party, face no to little consequences for his action? And why Am I just sitting here as it was up for debate in our country's lawmaking institutions what bathrooms trans people choose to use? Why were police with riot gear spraying water cannons at Native American protesters as they were trying to prevent the Dakota Access Pipeline from cutting across their sacred land? And here I was sitting in the comfort of my home on my couch. Why had Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and so many others been shot and killed for little more than existing while being Black? And why did it take nearly a year and a half before public officials started actually believing that there was something wrong with the water in my hometown of Flint? And yet, where I was, our family was safe, thank God. But the disparity is still there. I saw so much injustice in the world, and I knew that I wanted to be part of the solution, not the problem. I was inspired by a number of fiery social justice rabbis, and I knew that I knew personally or followed on social media. So as I entered rabbinic studies, I had decided that I too would be a fiery social justice rabbi, using my position to wake people up and see all of the injustices in the world that they were overlooking, and to bring people together to become better informed and to work together to make this better world and to fix what we could. And I aspired to build a community that was truly welcoming of people with different minority identities. And I tried to fill all of my free time with reading and learning as much as I could about all of the problems that affected people of different minority identities. And while I continued to find that incredibly important, I started to realize that focusing on justice alone was leading me into a rabbinate that only focused on the parts of the world that were most challenging. I did not want this type of Judaism for me or our community members that I would work with, but I didn't want to ignore the work and learning that needed to be done, and I didn't know what way to take, that I should take. One Shabbat, while I was living in Jerusalem, I attended a Friday night service at Kehilat Zion, a prayer community that met in the basement of my neighborhood community center. Those are always the best kind, the ones that are in the basement of something else. As I sat together with people from my neighborhood and from across the city of Jerusalem, we sang together, and our voices brought melodies and harmonies into holy chorus, and I could feel that sense of calm that I was talking about, the calm that lifts weight off of our shoulders. And then the Rabbi Tamar Elad Applebaum, Zion's founding rabbi, began her Devar Torah with words I didn't realize that I needed to hear. She said, I was studying something from our tradition this week that I love so much, and I want to share that with you. I don't remember what the exact teaching was, but I do remember her saying, there is so much about Judaism that is beautiful and that we love with our whole hearts. But if we truly love Judaism and our tradition with our whole heart, we also have to take to heart the commandment that we cannot stand idly by the blood of our neighbor. We cannot ignore that there are children just mere hours away in Syria who are living in rubble, afraid for their lives. In the silence after Rabbi Elad Applebaum finished her message, I sat knowing that I had experienced the type of Judaism that I want to embody. I still do not want to be the rabbi who focuses only on Judaism in a vacuum at the expense of the immense justice work that needs to be done. And I also don't want to be a rabbi who only or who ignores the parts of Judaism and Jewish community that fill us with that sense of calm and joy and comfort and love in order to only focus on what is heartbreaking and draining. I want to be a rabbi who challenges her community and herself to search for spiritual fulfillment, both in what breaks our hearts and in dedicating energy to make ourselves whole. Our world is filled with challenges that overwhelm even the strongest of hearts. There is so much that we don't know. But this should not hold us back from envisioning a better world for us and for future generations. Nor should it prevent us from taking steps to move toward that path. As we sing and study and reflect and build meaningful relationships and challenge our previously held beliefs and search for meaning and try to better our actions, I believe that we will find our way to that world if we go on that journey together. And I look forward to the opportunity of joining you on that journey. I will be sharing more words of gratitude a little later this evening, but I want to take a moment to share some immense gratitude that I have for each and every one of you. Thank you to each person who has greeted me with the slight closing of your eyes to show me that you're smiling behind your mask. Thank you to those who sent me cards welcoming me into town. There were so many. I was overwhelmed with gratitude and joy, and if we're being honest, I haven't responded to each of them, and I also apologize. So thank you, and I'm sorry. Thank you to those who have invited me for a meal, to those who have given me recommendations of places around the Bay that I should check out, to those who have checked to see how I was doing after a slight earthquake, to those who gave me tips on how to avoid traffic and how to use BART and to call it BART and not the BART, and letting me know all of the socially acceptable ways to refer to San Francisco. I've been told that Frisco is not good, but how about Franny? No. Darn. I really liked that one. Thank you to each person who has shared their dreams and concerns about Temple Beth Torah. Thank you to each of you who have become sacred partners in the work of both putting the Jewish and the life into Jewish life at Temple Beth Torah. Thank you for being the reason that I brag to my family and friends about how lucky I got to be here. And lastly, thank you for being here this evening. Whether you are in this room or on Zoom or on live stream from across the country, your presence here and in my life means everything. I'm a lucky rabbi and a luckier human. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to invite up Michelle Eisenbruck, who will introduce and invite up Rabbi Laura Novak Winer.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Son? Okay. Most of us have a special teacher who has helped us navigate important parts of our education. Mine was a high school English teacher who brought depth and insight to literature. When the Rabbinic Transition Committee started planning this wonderful event, Rabbi Zoe was asked if there was a special professor at HUC that she would like to perform the installation. She immediately suggested Rabbi Laura Novak Winer. As Rabbi Laura has a strong connection to Temple Beth Torah, I was very happy with this selection. Here's a brief bio. Rabbi Dr. Laura Novak Winer, RJE, is the director of the Master of Educational Leadership program at the Hebrew Union College's Rhea Hirsch School of Education in Los Angeles, California. Laura has worked in and with a variety of afternoon school settings, and her current research foci are Israel education and the supplementary school. Laura has been published in a variety of academic and online journals, is a regular contributor to Moment Magazine's Ask the Rabbis column, and was the editor of several curricula, including Sacred Choices, Adolescent Relationships, and Sexual Ethics, 2005 and 2007. Laura is a past president of the Association of Reformed Jewish Educators. Laura earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of California, Santa Barbara, a Master's of Arts in Jewish Education from the Rhea Hirsch School of Education, rabbinic ordination at HUC-JIR, and a doctorate in education from the Jewish Theological Seminary, Davidson School of Graduate Education. She lives in Fresno, California with her husband, Rabbi Rick Winer. It is my pleasure to introduce Rabbi Laura Novak Winer.
Can we take our masks off? Yeah. We measured, it's 6 feet.
So it is such an honor to be here with you all tonight and to be back at TBT with your friends and familiar faces. I think it's been 10 years since I've been in the building, since Rick and I moved to Fresno. And for those of you who know and remember Rick, he wanted to be here tonight. He wanted to come and meet Zoe, and he wanted to be here tonight for this special occasion, but he's a rabbi, so he's a congregational rabbi, so he had to, he's leading services right now in Fresno. And it's such an honor to be here with Zoe. So Zoe and I met, I think the first time we met was when you were first actually beginning to think about your thesis. And Zoe like cold called me as a professor at HUC and said, like, I understand that you wrote this curriculum called Sacred Choices. Can we talk about that? Because I'm beginning to think about my thesis, which was going to be on adolescence and sexuality and sex education and things like that. So that was the first time we met. And then the second time we met, and that was over the phone. And then the second time we met was in 2019. Zoe was a student in Cincinnati and basically petitioned to take a class that I was teaching in Los Angeles. And this was before COVID. Together with some of her other classmates in the other campuses, I created a hybrid class where we had, the whole class was on Zoom, and we were like prepared to study and learn and teach together on Zoom even before COVID came. And so we spent a semester learning together. And then today, actually, at 5:30, it was the first time we actually met in person. So it's just a real pleasure it was a joy to be here, and it's a pleasure to be here. And so we thought we would be a little creative tonight. And in my class, I don't remember if we actually listened to Brene Brown in my class.
We talked about her.
We talked about Brene Brown in my class. Now I make them actually listen to Brene Brown. So for those of you who, raise your hand if you know who Brene Brown is. So some of you know Brene Brown is this phenomenal researcher in leadership and in vulnerability, and she's a social work background, and I encourage you to Google her, read any book that she's written, and listen to any of her podcasts. I think she has 3. Anyway, her podcast, she sort of interviews people, and she has like this fun conversation, and I thought, let's just be a little fun and have sort of a Brene Brown kind of conversation. So I'm playing the role of Brene Brown. And Rabbi Zoe's going to play the role of Rabbi Zoe. And I have a couple questions that I want to ask her that we've discussed discussed a little bit together. We're going to sort of to help get to know Rabbi Zoe. And then I have some rapid fire questions that she does not know what they are. Just gonna answer really quickly. Okay. So, and then we'll get serious again. So, Rabbi Zoe, tell us, who are the people, like one or two people who really inspired you to become a rabbi, and what lessons was it that they taught you?
So, lots of answers to this, but I would say the top two on my list. Number one is my mom, who is here on Zoom. Hi, Mom. And she was the first person who modeled for me geeking out about Judaism. She advocated in her own youth to go to Sunday school. For all of us who may have maybe not enjoyed Sunday school and wanted to get out, she counteracted you. She was the one who wanted to be in that room. She wanted to soak in all of the learning. And she also, after having lived in Israel for 4 years, loved and still loves speaking Hebrew. And so any Israeli person that she encounters, she kind of finds them out. It's kind of like, it's like a radar, but for like people who speak Hebrew. I don't know how she does it. But all of a sudden she'll find them, and then they start speaking Hebrew out of nowhere. Like, sometimes it's like the waiter at a restaurant or like some random person on the street, and then usually they'll find 3 people that they know. It's incredible. But so even though she herself is not a Jewish professional, she was the first person who modeled for me being proud of Judaism and being your most geeky, spongy Jewish self and soaking up everything that you can. And then the second person on my list is my first rabbi, Rabbi Karen Campanez. There's a whole story about how I decided that I wanted to become a rabbi, but the long story short is that I was about to be a bat mitzvah, and I was having this internal crisis. Oh my gosh, I'm about to be an adult in the Jewish community, and I don't even know what I'm going to do in my adult life. Oh my gosh, what am I going to be when I grow up? And Rabbi Campanez said, well, have you ever thought about being a rabbi? And it blew my mind. I loved being at temple. It was my favorite thing in the whole wide world, and I'd never thought of it until she mentioned it. And so she really modeled for me, like, just ask. Like, someone might want to do something or become involved or learn about something. And I know that, like, being excited is sometimes not the cool thing to do, but actually people have interests and you can ask them and they might say yes. And if it weren't for her, I don't know that I would be here today. So really both of them.
Okay. What do you think is one challenge, or what is one of the challenges facing the Jewish community today, and how do you think we should address it?
So the issue that I've been thinking about most recently is about this working assumption that used to work and doesn't really anymore, about the people who want to know will know we're here and will know what to find us and will know what we're offering. And if they want to be involved, then they're going to jump through those hoops to find all of that information. And Jewish organizations around the country, Jewish congregations, Jewish nonprofits, all of these different organizations are coming across the same challenge, that actually that's not the case anymore, unfortunately. And so as an organization, I think that what we need to do is to have a clear vision of who it is that we are and what it is we bring to the Jewish people of the Bay Area, and to be really proud of it, both in the way that we the way that we think about possibilities for the future, and also how we share with others what is going on in our community, and really making sure that, you know, our advertising about what's going on isn't just going to the people who read our emails, or even read part of our emails, or even see that an email has come into their inbox and have acknowledged that there might be an email that has some information and they might read it later. They just are kind of busy right now, so they'll come back to it later, and then might not end up doing that. I am really excited that we've started this work, and we have a communication team. Rick and Mara and Beth and Martha and I are all having conversations about how we're getting the word out. And so I'm excited that we're going to have some strategy for moving forward. But the other thing, since I have all of you in the room, I'll just share that statistically, there's no amount of money that we can spend, and there's no like cool magic sauce that exists that works better than someone saying, I'm going to this thing, you want to come with? So my plea to each of you is, if you're excited about something, tell someone, invite them to come with you, and that's how our community will grow.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
And they told two friends that. They told two friends.
Yeah.
Great. So I am so inspired by your passion for social justice and all the work that you see needs to be done, and you spoke about that. And I share that passion and that dismay that there's so much work that we need to be done. And I live by the words of Rabbi Tarfon, who is one of the rabbis in the Talmud, who teaches Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor v'lo ata ben chorin lehibatel mimena, which means you are not obligated to complete the work, but nor are you free to refrain from doing it. And so that is to say, we have to actually dip our toes in and do the work. And I often have these Rabbi Tarfon moments where I go, oh my gosh, there's so much work to be done, and where am I going to put my energy right now? So what's your where is your Rabbi Tarfon moment taking you right now? Where is it that what are you feeling compelled to right now to put your energy into when it comes to social justice?
Ugh, it's such a hard one. Raise your hand if you've ever been like, I want to be dealing with all of these things, and I just like, I want to fix the whole world. Why is it so much work? I just constantly feel like there's a million things that I want to be doing to make the world a better place. And it's really overwhelming sometimes. But I like to think about it in the context of an overall goal, that at any given moment, I need to be working on something that honors and celebrates those who are created in God's image and fight against that which does not. So it's not the same thing all of the time. Sometimes it's working on environmental justice. When I was working at Chazon, which is an outdoor environmental organization that I was working at in Detroit, working on an urban farm. And sometimes it's doing work around prison reform to help have a humane experience for those behind bars in our country. And sometimes it's hearing people talk about experiences that they've had around gender-based violence or power-based violence, and hearing their stories and hoping that other leaders are also equipping themselves to hear and hold those stories as well. And I think that right now I'm especially concerned about power-based violence, including assault and harassment. If any of you are familiar, there was recently a study that came out about the history of Hebrew Union College, which was the school that I went to. And it was absolutely heartbreaking hearing some of the stories that were shared about misogyny and about harassment and assault even. And it was hard to read and even harder to know that these are the stories that we're hearing about. And actually around the country, there are plenty of Jewish spaces where those stories remain unheard. So I wish that I could fix every single issue that is heartbreaking, but I have to know that when I am doing one thing, it's part of a bigger whole, and that when we create opportunities to engage around different justice issues together as a community, or when I'm doing one thing and our social justice community is doing another, and then maybe Cheryl is doing something else, and then Rabbi Schulman's doing something else, and when each person is doing at least a little something, our work adds up. It matters. And that's my Rabbi Tarfon moment.
We should all have Rabbi Tarfon moments. And if we all have Rabbi Tarfon moments and pick the one thing, then we'll make some progress.
Amen.
Okay, I'm gonna skip.
Yeah.
So, what gives you hope?
This is the time of hope, right? It's Kislev. It's about to be Hanukkah. This is the time of miracles. But I think that hope is. I think that hope isn't actually something that's given. I think it's a practice that we cultivate in ourselves. Hope is something that is necessary for us to move from survival into a mode of thriving. And it's often something that we need when we don't have answers, or when things are hard or uncertain or difficult. And when we're reaching out for hope, that means that we are choosing to not believe that everything will look like our worst fears, which is pretty courageous. So I guess that if I had to give an answer of what gives me hope, it would be, what gives me hope is to see people have the courage to have hope.
So, a minute ago, when we heard the names of all the rabbis who have served here at TBT, Rabbi Schulman and I sort of like nodded at each other, and I had a moment of, oh my gosh, I know all those rabbis, right? I knew Rabbi Alan Krauss, Zichrono Livracha, and I knew Rabbi Steve Kaplan, and I'm good friends with Rabbi Schulman, right? It's not even a question. We are good friends.
You can tell me the secrets later.
And here's what I can say. All three are men of integrity. And so here you are, Rabbi Zoe, the first woman rabbi of TBTs. Thank you for the applause. So someone invited, a non-Jew, heard me speak recently and invited me to come speak to a group of senior adults, none of whom were Jewish. And the invitation said to me, we want to hear about your choice to be a female rabbi. Thank you for laughing, because that's how I heard it. Right, like, Yes, I'm a cisgender female rabbi, and I choose to be that, right? That's who I am. I didn't choose to be female. That's how God created me, and I'm blessed that my body matches who I identify as. And I pray for those for whom that their bodies do not fit who they feel they are, that they can find that way. So I corrected him, the man who invited me, to speak about how I chose to be a female rabbi. And I also thought, well, rarely, if ever, do men get asked why they became rabbis or why they became male rabbis. Were you ever asked why you became a male rabbi? Okay. So, and in this year we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of women in the rabbinate. So are you a rabbi or are you a woman rabbi? Or something else?
Great question. Yes, and. So what I'll say is, I think that identities are a blessing and a curse, right? So on the one hand, we are whole beings that include various identities. So the fact that I grew up as a woman, as somebody from an interfaith family, as someone who's white, as someone who came from a middle-class background, who's Ashkenazi, these all informed my experience of being a human being and of being Jewish and of being a student and now for 5.5 seconds being a rabbi. So to a certain extent, yeah, I am a woman and that affects my experience. And the question is really, why are we bringing up those identities? Are we doing so because we want to uplift a part of our experience that perhaps somebody else might also be experiencing or might not experience but could learn from? Wonderful. For that instance, I'd love to share how excited that I am to be at Temple Beth Torah's first female rabbi. That being said, we sometimes use identities to suggest, oh, well, there's normal rabbis, and then there's woman rabbis. There's competent rabbis, and there's woman rabbis. There are strong and emotionally straightforward rabbis, and then there are women rabbis, and who even knows what you're going to get at, depending on the time of the month or whatever it is that we're going to share about. We're owing, but we know that it's happened, right? Right? And so in relation to that, I'm not a woman rabbi in that I'm a rabbi except I'm a woman. I'm a rabbi, full stop. And I'm also a woman. So in short, I will at no point be going by the title Woman Rabbi Zoe McCoon. But I'm also proud of who I am and my identities, and I think it's important for us to talk about.
Thank you. Okay. Rapid fire. What is the last show that you binged and loved?
Ted Lasso.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay.
What's the last podcast that I binged and loved? Brene Brown. And she talks about Ted Lasso all of the time. And so then at a certain point, I was like, I have to break down.
Okay.
I have to do it.
Okay. What's your favorite meal?
Pho.
Pho.
Pho is my favorite meal, which is great because there's a lot of it here.
in the words of Brene Brown, you're called to do something really brave, but your fear is real and stuck in your throat. What's the first thing you do?
I close my eyes like this, and I take a deep breath, and I think, well, here we go, and I jump in. You might notice a little bit of the energy sometimes on Shabbat.
What is something that people get wrong about you?
I think that sometimes people get wrong that I have parts of myself that aren't sunny. I think that I give off this very like bubbly, jumpy, youthful, sun-filled, happy-go-lucky energy. At least people growing up really experienced me that way. And something that I've been working on both for myself and also creating the space for others is that it's actually totally okay to not be doing that great, and to be open about it, because a lot of times when we're saying we're fine, what we're really saying is we're shutting off the feelings that we have, and those are going to bubble up later, whether we're ready for them or not.
Okay, what are 3 songs on your playlist right now?
Okay, so that's a good one. So my cousin is a musician, and she actually wrote this incredible song. I believe it, I think it's called October or something like this. I'll have to share for people who are interested. It is such a bop. Honestly, like, I know that she's my cousin, but I'm over here like singing like she's like Britney Spears or something, but it's like the best feeling in the whole wide world, and she's so talented. So that's number 1. Number 2 is actually we sang it. It's Hashkivenu. It is a really grounding song for me. So every once in a while when I feel like I need to be grounded, then sometimes I'll listen to Dan Nichols singing to me. And the last one would be, there's so many. I think that the last song that I would say is, her name is Batya Levine. She is this incredible musician, and she sings this song called We Rise, and it talks about all the ways that we rise when we're being pushed down. And so when I feel like I need that, when I need that strength and that power, I feel that strength from her voice. So those are my top 3.
And what book are you looking forward to reading next?
I have my current reading, and I don't have my up next reading.
Okay, what's your current?
My current reading is My Year of Living Biblically, which is about this guy who decides that he's going to follow all of the rules of the Torah, well, really of the Bible. He includes both our Testament and a New Testament in like the most literal way possible. And some of it is really interesting, and some of it is really frustrating because I'm like, there's more resources. You don't have to make it up. It's right. You don't have to make it up based on how you're literally reading that. But alas, that's what I'm reading right now.
Okay, and finally, what are you deeply grateful for in this moment?
I'm really grateful to be in this moment. A year ago, I couldn't have pictured where I was going to be, and it was not fun in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of finishing, working on school and looking at the different job options and thinking about what my future held. I really don't know that I would have ever pictured sitting right here in this moment with you and with all of you and with Rick and Mira in the back, who we've become a great team. So I'm really grateful for this moment and for all of you.
Great. Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you for doing that with all of us. We were talking about having a conversation, and we were like, oh gosh, do you think they're going to go for it? And I was like, well, it's so much better than, like, we now rise and I'll share some things and you'll share some things, and it feels very formal. And so this was fun. Thank you.
Right. Okay, but now we'll get serious
Yes.
and touching. We're going to do a collaborative blessing of Rabbi Zoe, and I would like to invite Ronnie
Peterson.
Lori, Ravenscroft, Pip, and Jim to come up and hold what we're calling our Sukkot Shalom. And Rabbi Schulman, will you come stand too? And we're going to,
Oh, wait, hold on.
you're running, Craig. There we go.
Ooh. Hold on, there we go. Okay, so then this goes here, that goes there. Okay, great.
You want them over there or here in the middle?
Yeah, why don't we go over here?
In the middle by the camera, so that we can go on. And spread out a little bit, please, so that we can.
That might be the most that they can spread out.
Okay, so come on over, Rabbi. So I'm going to say a few words of blessing for Rabbi Zoe, and then Rabbi Schulman will. So, okay. So as I mentioned, we're celebrating the 50th year of women in the rabbinate. And in thinking about this moment in Jewish history.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Microphone.
Oh, microphone.
Sorry about that, you guys on Zoom. We're thinking about you too.
Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to do this.
Yes.
Okay. So we're celebrating 50 years of women in the rabbinate, and thinking about this moment in Jewish history, I look back to what was said in 1992 on the occasion of the 20th year of women in the rabbinate. So that was 30 years ago. I wasn't a rabbi even then, 30 years ago. I was soon after that. So 30 years ago, in a sort of back to the future kind of moment, Nancy Fuchs Kramer imagined how women in the rabbinate, this is asking me to join a hotspot, how women in the rabbinate would impact our Jewish community in the future. And I read now, to read now what she wrote then is to imagine Rabbi Zoe McCoon. So first, she says, in the Jewish future, the Jewish past will look different. While we cannot change the past, we can change the stories we tell about the past and the perspectives we bring to thinking and learning about the past. And Rabbi Zoe, your Torah, with a lowercase t, that you bring to this community is uniquely yours. Your voice, your perspective, your wisdom comes from your lived experience, your learning and curiosity about the world around you. In this, you are a blessing for us all. Second, she says, in the Jewish future, our communities will understand even more deeply that we are forbidden from making images of God because there are already images of God all around us in every human being on earth. And we learn that rabbis are not God figures. You are not just Rabbi Zoe. You too are Zoe, a woman, a sister, a daughter, a friend. And you bring your humanity into your rabbinate. And for this, you are a blessing. In the future, she says, we will have more inclusive communities, spaces of belonging for Jews of all orientations, genders, abilities, racial and cultural backgrounds. And Rabbi Zoe, your vision of inclusion and welcoming spaces and creating welcoming spaces is already clearly evident here at TBT, as even on this night we mark the Transgender Day of Remembrance. And for this, you are a blessing. And finally, Fuchs Kramer imagines, in the future, women rabbis will have helped the Jewish community see its history of pain as a window into the pain of others. And women's empathy will have cracked open Jewish particularism and turned the community outward to the world to help heal the injustices we see around us each and every day. So Rabbi Zoe, you have a deep commitment to justice, as we've heard, to addressing inequities and righting the wrongs we see around us. And for this, you are a blessing for us all. It has been such an honor to be here tonight to pray with you and to sing with the TBT community tonight. You are all so blessed to have Rabbi Zoe McCoon as your rabbi. With her vision, her empathy, her compassion, her wisdom, her perspectives, she will lead you from strength to even greater strength. And so I offer these final words of blessing for you. May God be with you. May God bless you with health and strength. May the light of Torah shine strongly within you, illuminating all those you touch. May your teachings take all of us higher and higher. May God bless your efforts with success. May God bless the choices you make. May God bless this community with unity and peace. May you lead us from strength to strength. May God bless this new path you are about to undertake, or begun to undertake. May God bless you with courage and the power to be bold. May God watch over you and shield you from harm. May you be a blessing in this world, and may you be at home in this Beit Torah, this home infused with Torah. And may blessings surround you now and always. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Mishaberach. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. May God, who has blessed our ancestors, Yivarech et harav, Mira, Zohar, Bat Dina, the John. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, bless and sustain Rabbi Zoe Mira McCoon. May the Holy One implant within you a full measure of wisdom so that you embody the words of our tradition. May Torah always be a source of joy for you, and may you be blessed with insight as you inspire Jewish learning and practice. May you respond to every challenge with dignity and offer compassion to comfort those in need. May you be endowed with strength to continue work in difficult times and generosity to share abundance when life is full. Rabbi Zoe, may you enable Temple Beth Torah to continue to be a home for celebration and exploration of spirituality and friendship. In the words hallowed by centuries of Jewish life, may your heart, your mind, your soul receive these words of blessing. Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerech. May God bless you and protect you. Ye'er Adonai panav alayach v'chunayach. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elayach yasem lach shalom. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you always be blessed with shalom, with peace. Amen.
Thank you.
And on this night of sacred consecration between Rabbi Zoe and Temple Beth Torah, we offer these words of prayer as well. O God, who blessed our mothers and fathers, bless this congregation. May the Holy One bless you who come to pray, you who come to pursue the study of Torah, you who work to repair our world, and all who make this synagogue an extension of your lives. Through ongoing participation in this community, may you be open to creating holiness in your lives. May you affirm a commitment to prayer, study, and good deeds for your sake, for the sake of your family and friends, for the sake of our people, and for all humankind. Temple Beth Torah is a sacred community, a Kehillah Kedoshah, that is built upon the concept of brit, sacred partnership, of mutual expectations and responsibilities. May Rabbi Zoe and the members of this sacred congregation build this community together. May all be enriched by your sacred relationship and dedicate yourselves to care and loving support for one another. May you pursue justice and righteousness and bring forth healing to our fractured world. May your brit, your sacred partnership, affirmed on this Shabbat, grow and blossom in the years ahead. When we conclude a reading of a book of Torah, we recite and proclaim Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek. And so we say, be strong, be strong. And may you strengthen one another. And as we seal this covenant this night between Rabbi Zoe and Temple Beth Torah, let us give thanks to God for bringing us into life, sustaining us, enabling us to reach this moment as we join together in Shehechianu. Baruch
Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for holding these, you guys. And I would like to invite up all of those who were on our search committee and transition committee. If you guys please stay here. There's a few more. I have a quick blessing. Let's see, where did it go? Oh, my goodness. Of course. Blessed are those who dedicate their time and energy and care for the well-being of their community. Those of you who stand before me, as well as a few more who are joining us via Zoom, have not just dedicated a little time or energy or care. I recently heard an explanation that there is a difference between change and adaptation. Change happens whether we are ready or not. Adaptation is how we respond to the changes we experience. And over at least this past year, but for many of you even longer, you accepted the responsibility of facing the numerous changes that Temple Beth Torah experienced head on. The ones that you did see coming and the ones that you did not. You did so even as you navigated both a sense of loss and gratitude as the person you came to know as rabbi entered a new stage of life. You did so even as a pandemic prevented you from doing the things you may have expected or prepared for or wanted. And you did so with attention to the big and small details, with incredible warmth and kindness and openness and courage and creativity. Temple Beth Torah would not be the same if it were not for each and every one of you and the ways that you dedicated yourselves to addressing these changes. Each of you helped Temple Beth Torah to adapt, to adjust, and to move forward towards a future filled with hope. May God be with each of you. May God bless you with health and strength and perhaps a moment to breathe. May the light of Torah shine strongly within you, illuminating those you touch. May our community come to benefit from your hopes and visions for this community, and may we thrive together beyond our wildest dreams. And may Temple Beth Torah, based on your incredible leadership, go from strength to strength, to which we all say, Amen. Thank you all so, so much. So I am aware that with all of our excitement and with all of us who have a lot of things to say, that it is 9:30. So what we are going to do is we're going to do Misha Berach, an observance for Trans Day of Remembrance, and Mourner's Kaddish, and then we'll have a closing song together. I want to be respectful of your time, knowing that, especially for some people on Zoom, that is very late for you. So thank you so much for being here. So we will start with our prayers for healing. If you are on Zoom, please feel free to share the names of those you are praying for aloud or in your chat. And for those in person, please share the names of those you are thinking of who are in need of healing.
Matthew Thorne.
For all those names that we've said aloud and those that we keep in our hearts, we sing the words of Misha Berach on page 371.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
In honor of Transgender Day of Remembrance, I want to share a poem, a prayer written by Ariel Zitney called A Transgender Day of Remembrance Yizkor, for those who died sanctifying their names. God, full of compassion, remember those whose souls were taken in transphobic violence. Those souls reflected the tremendous and multitudinous splendor of your creations. They illustrated your vastness through their ever-expanding variations of being B'Tselem Elohim, of being made in your image. Source of mercy, provide them with the true shelter and peace that they deserved in this world. Those deaths were caused by hatred in our society. It is upon us to repair this brokenness in our world. May we have the strength to sanction justice speedily and in our days. For those who died by murder, we remember them. For those who died by suicide, we remember them. We remember their names, for those names will forever be a blessing. Nurturing one, comfort all who are mourning, and grant them healing in their hardship. I will now read the names of all those whose lives were taken since last year at this time that we know. As these beloved humans were created in God's image and came into their being, many of them chose new names, and some of them we've heard before, and some may sound new or different to our ears. Nonetheless, we honor their names and their memories, and we acknowledge that there are even more names and memories who are not yet known or may never come to light, and we mourn them as well. Felicia Harris, age 33. Brooklyn Deshauna Smith, age 20. Sarah Blackwood, age 29. Angel Haynes, age 25. Skylar Heath, age 20. Fendi Monzea Armstrong, age 39. Uniski Carrie Herrera, age 39. Asia Janae Foster, age 22. Kimberly Susan Fial, age 55, who lost her life in San Jose. Chemishia Sims, age 30. Jahim Pugh, age 19. Courtney Ashay Key, age 25. Alexandria Winchester, age 24. Tiana Deveria Alexander, age 28. Samuel Edmund Damian Valentine, age unknown. Bianca Banks, 30. Dominique Jackson, age 30. 50 Bands, age 21. Alexis Braxton, age 45. China Carrillo, age 24. Jasmine Jazzy Bright Kennedy, age 22. Jeffrey Bright, age 16. Jenna Franks, age 34. Diamond Kyrie Sanders, age 23. Rihanna Pardo, age 26. Chris Brandon Ruiz, age 26. Jada Peterson, age 24. Dominique Lucius, age 26. Remy Fennel, age 28. Tiara Banks, age 24. Iris Santos, age 22. Natalia Smoot Lopez, age 24, who lost her life also in San Jose. Tiffany Thomas, age 38. Carrie Bobo Washington, age 49. Thomas Harden, age 35. Jahera De Alto Balansagia, age 43. Whispering Wind Bear Spirit, age 41. Danica Danny Henson, age 31. Sophie Vasquez, age 36. Serenity Hollis, age 24. Oliver Ali Taylor, age 17. Poe Black Jackson, age 21. Casey Wilson, age unknown. Tierra Marie Lewis, age 36. E.J. Boykin, age 23. Ruby Dominguez, age 29. Taya Ashton, age 20. Shai Vanderpump, age 23. Coco Chanel Wortham, age 44. Pooh Johnson, age 25. Zoella Rose Martinez, age 20. Desaya Monet Smith, age 23. Brianna Ulmer, age 25. Kier Laprie Cartier, age 21. Mel Groves, age 25. Royal Poetical Stars, age 26. Joe Acker, age 26. Jesse Hart, age 42. Kiki Otumoru, age 39. Markeisha Lawrence, age 28. And Jenny DeLeon, age 25. Even one life is too much, is too many. And we are remembering at least 61 just from this year. And these are all from the United States. We add to those names the list of those we are remembering from our community. As you hear your family member's name, please rise. This evening we are remembering those who have been called to their eternal rest in recent days, including Michael Klein, brother of Janice Fontano, and James Ray, remembered by Gigi, Max, and Alex Dornfest. We are also remembering the yard sites of the following people: Abraham Getz, father of Allison Davis; June Marie Dalton Lee, mother of Don Dalton; Esther Rebecca Levy, remembered by Lulu Lee Levy; Linda Mendez, mother of Jill Zyman; Frances Perlman, remembered by Rosalie Rosenbaum; Alan Ravenscroft, father of Greg Ravenscroft; Samuel Toland, father of Ann D. Wilson; and Edith Trousseau, remembered by Deborah Salcedo. We also invite all who are observing their first year of mourning to rise at this time. And we turn together to page 598 for the words of the mourner's Kaddish, and rise as a community with all of our mourners. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushchata v'nechemata, dam yiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, to which we say, amen. It's my pleasure to invite up Rick Brzezinski to share words of announcement. Wait, hold on. Over here. Okay, there you go.
You got to raise it a little bit. All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Please join us next Friday, November 26th, for an online-only Shabbat service. We're having a post-Thanksgiving turkey trot at Coyote Hills on Saturday, November 27th at 10 a.m. This will be an easy to moderate hike. There's no registration required, but please let the office know if you plan to join us so we can contact you for any last-minute changes due to weather. This year, JFS Silicon Valley's annual Embrace a Family program is running from Thursday, November 18th through Wednesday, 12/15. Once again, the program will be entirely virtual through Sign Up Genius. This year, with so many new refugee arrivals and economic health challenges for many in our community, we're counting on your strong support. Please check the social action page on our website for details and instructions. Hanukkah Homecoming. Temple Beth Torah is proud to be participating alongside hundreds of Jewish organizations in a worldwide initiative called Hanukkah Homecoming. The weekend of December 3 through 5 will be hosting special Hanukkah-themed events that will be widely publicized. Join us on Friday night, December 3rd, for Let the Light In musical Shabbat celebration. And on Sunday, December 5th, we will have two events. Soulful Story Time, the Hanukkah edition, which will be ASL interpreted and begin at 11:30 a.m. And then join us for community menorah lighting in the Breezeway at 5 p.m. Please see the weekly email or our website for more details. Thanks to Jim Cohn for helping with the cameras, Greg Revingscroft for providing extra audio equipment, and to Susan Amaro and Lori Ravenscroft for representing Worship Committee tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. And I promise you that each and every one of those things that we just listed will take probably half of the time that we just spent this evening. We are going to go quickly to blessings. We're actually going to end on the family blessings. So if we could do Kiddush and Motzi, we're going to do our shortened blessings so that we can enjoy the rest of our Shabbat evening. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Ooh, this is beautiful. Thank you. And I'm just going to take a little piece here. Oh my God. Ooh, I'm so excited for each and every one of you. We'll have some challah and grape juice, which you can grab and schmooze after services if you're still awake. And then we are going to close this evening with our family blessing. It's a personal favorite of mine, so you can feel free to reach out to your friends. I understand if you need to get out on the road, we will be holding you in our blessings as well. So we will close with our family blessing.
May God bless you and keep you. you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to and grant you
V'yasem lecha shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I encourage you to grab some challah and grape juice now that we've blessed, and to grab your oneg boxes. And thank you to each and every one of you for being here.
Shabbat Shalom. Good night, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for being here.
I am Steve Elman. I live